What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and tonight we have an extremely special guest. I first got wind of this dude on the Random Acts of podcast. Man, y'all make sure y'all check those fellas out. He made an appearance on there a couple of weeks ago, and he has a fantastic story to tell, and I think a story that needs to be heard by a lot of people. He's originally from Jacksonville, Florida. He's currently residing in Colorado. And the man is a prime example of turning hardship into triumph. He's the author of a book called HVAC Guide, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Joseph Johnson in the building. Joseph, what's going on, man?
Okay. What's going on, fam? How you doing?
I'm great, man. All good over here, man. Glad you could be on.
Hey, I appreciate that introduction, bro. You got me hyped up already.
I do what I can. So I want to start from the very beginning. So growing up in Jacksonville, what was that like for you?
Growing up in Duval, so it kind of went in phases, I would say, I grew up in a two-parent household, my mom and my dad, and my little sister. She like a year and a half younger than me. Both we got the same mom, same dad. I would say overall, my early childhood was pretty cool. I kind of had conduct issues from day one.
Yeah.
Excuse me. From as far back as I can remember, the book on me or the story on me always was, he's a real smart kid, real bright kid, got a lot of potential, but his conduct is just a little, his conduct is he got to rein it in. So that's kind of how my early childhood started. I grew up on, for the most part, off of Dunn Avenue in Jacksonville, Key Haven to be exact. And that was like, my early childhood, playing basketball, playing football. Always was heavy in the sports. I always loved the contact sport. And I would say middle school was when I kind of kind of getting off the rails a little bit, start getting in a lot of fights and stuff. But I always was, pretty smart. Really didn't, like school that much. Mostly because, and it's wild when I think about it now, but it was mostly because I didn't like, my clothes. I didn't like how I looked when I went to school. So that started off with, and in my era, when I was in Duval, we called it ranking.
Yeah.
I'm sure people call it, Jones and cracking funnies or whatever. My era we called it ranking. So it started off, dudes, a lot of people ranking on me. I ain't really like I said, I really like how I look, had the nappy fro. So I just really didn't like going to school really, you know. Then I got to high school and uh it was, more the same like ninth grade, still doing a lot of fighting, a lot of ranking in school, not really paying attention in school. And then man, I got a job working at Bono's Pit Barbecue, and I got my first check. Man, it was like $500 something. That was the most money I ever had in my at one time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it just 360 from there. Like I just, I uh started figuring out ways to get money at that time. And then from that point, man, shoot, growing up was like, it was a whole different ball game. I went to Report High School, so it was, still kind of in the sports, still playing basketball, but I kind of started getting introduced to the violence and stuff around that time. Reebok was cool, but it was more like a fashion show. It was a fashion show and then violence. So it was a lot of fighting, a lot of people getting jumped, people getting shot at school. So it was. That's why I said kind of went in phases.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like what growing up was like.
Okay, so when did it really like in high school when you got introduced to the violence part, when did it reach its boiling point?
Well, that's a great question. Uh, I would say it really hit its boiling point. Uh, a friend of mine named Freddie Jr., God bless the dead, he passed. So it really hit a boiling point when it was like, I think this was like 2002, I believe it was. Um, we went on Christmas break and and I was supposed to be at this club that night, right? So it was like a teen club called The Spot. Why they had teen clubs in Duval, I do not know. That was the worst possible scenario to be. But they had this teen club called The Spot. And it was a dude who I was really cool with, Freddie Jr. You know, I always uh had took a liking to him because one time we were in class and some dudes, you know, they kind of like was gonna jump on me or whatever. We was about to get in a fight, and this dude Freddie, he stood up. He was like, "Nah, y'all ain't about to jump on my dog. Now y'all ain't about to jump that man." And he stood up for me, and I ain't get jumped. So ever since that point, I was like, "Well, that's my main man." You know, I
Yeah.
really like, you know, like that's my partner. So over Christmas break, we were supposed to be you know, everybody was linking up at this teen club called The Spot. And I was telling my mom, man, I wanted to go. You know, I was supposed to go. I was supposed to go. I want to go. And she just was like, she was stern, like, no, no, you're not going out. You know, you're not going. You about to go to church. And I was like, what? So we going back and forth, man. It was a big argument between me and my mom. I don't know if she even remember this to this day. She probably forgot all about this. But man, me and my mom going back and forth, back and forth. I was like, man, I want to go. I want to go. So I end up not going. Come to find out the next day, my buddy Orion called me. He called me the next morning and was like, man, your dog got killed last night. I was like, what? Who? He was like, Freddie. I was like, Freddie, what Freddie? He's like, man, Freddie Jr. Freddie Jr. got killed at the club last night. I was like, what? And at the time, uh, my girlfriend and his girlfriend was like best friends at the time. So uh, she called me later on the day, was like, man, Freddie got shot last night. I was like, man, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. So that was the big thing. And all this is over like Christmas break. We come back to school. The dude that took part in it was right in my class.
What?
Yeah, man, in my geometry class, Mr. Chin class.
Wow.
So I hear them talking about it. You know, not in no negative way, just kind of defending themselves like, man, we ain't had nothing to do with it. That wasn't us. You know, man, I went, you know, they were talking to this girl about it. And it's like maybe 5, 10 feet away from me. Like, man, we ain't had nothing to do with that, man. That wasn't us. But people was talking about it in school, you know. His brother went to the school with us, all his homeboys, all of them, you know, we went to the same school. So I just remember like they was talking about it. I remember it spurred like all kind of, you know, feelings in me. And I was like, man, I want to fight. You know, like I want to like, you know, I want to fight dudes at the same time. In my mind, I'm thinking like, man, shoot, them boys, you know, they on another level with it. You know, I at this time, you know, we like 14, 15, maybe 16 at the oldest. Bro, I'm not, you know, messing with guns at this time. So I'm like, man, I don't, you know, I'm upset, but I'm not on that level. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to get to no gunplay or nothing.
Right.
So I just remember being like super upset about that. I don't know why it affected me so much, but you know, at the time I just was, it kind of had my blood boiling. It was just something that was really upsetting me. So that was when I realized, like, man, you know, if I'm going to be ready to, if I'm going to like survive, if I'm going to, if I'm gonna make it, you know, if I really want to, you know, keep going, I got to be willing to be on that same type of time. You know, I got to be willing to if it comes down to it, you know, I got to be ready to shoot too,
Mm-hmm.
because man, dudes is dying. And Freddie wasn't the only person died. Like dudes was dying in high school. It was just that was the first time, you know, like one of my friends, somebody I consider a friend died.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro, I say that's what I recall being like the tipping point.
So you ended up doing a 10-year bid. So
Yes,
what
sir.
was the what led up to that?
So what led up to that was really like a pattern of bad decisions. It really was inevitable. At the time, I was making so many bad decisions consistently that it was bound to happen. So I actually got charged with armed robbery and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And yeah, I mean, I was making so many bad decisions. That's pretty much what led to it. I was participating in the street life. Participating in anything that come with being in the street. And I don't know if you're familiar with Duval, but Duval, for a while it was like the murder capital of Florida. So gun violence was pretty prevalent in Duval. So I would say, yeah, man, just a string of or a pattern of the bad decisions led to me inevitably getting locked up.
So take us to the court date. So when you ended up being convicted, what was going through your mind at the time?
So at the time, let's see. So leading up to that, I was on the fifth floor, I believe, in the county jail. Right? It's wild. So I'm in there, everybody who I'm in the dorm with, it's like 25 and under. So everybody in there wild, we all most of us looking at, prison time. So at the time, I was kind of praying for some leniency because I had two co-defendants at the time. One of them, he had already went home, and he was like the youngest one. I told my lawyer to tell his lawyer, man, he had nothing to do with it. If it comes down to it, if we got to go to trial, I say, that he didn't have anything to do with it. I kind of forced his hand. He didn't know what was going on. So he ended up getting released, within like 2 months. Me and the other dude, he told immediately. He started cooperating immediately. Now it's wild because he told, but he lied at the same time. So even though he was cooperating, he kind of his story didn't add up 100% because he was lying, but which was a terrible move because it didn't allow for him to get any kind of leniency. So by the time I went to court, I knew what I was facing, right? I knew that one of my co-defendants was already willing to cooperate. I knew that uh, they kind of had. I knew the evidence they had, and I knew that my lawyer's strategy was, we're going to bank on the fact that they aren't really putting any putting any work into your case. We're gonna just go for a speedy trial, and hopefully, they aren't prepared, and they'll give us, they'll offer you a deal at that time. They'll offer you just a plea deal, right? I never. Oh, also, my lawyer was like, you gotta, I gotta tell it on you already. Do you want to cooperate? Do you want to tell? I was like, nah, I ain't doing no cooperating. I don't want to do no telling. I just want to, fight the case however I can. But, I ain't trying to, wear a snitch jacket. So he was like, all right, cool. So this is a strategy we're gonna go with. So when we get to court, on the day where I actually got my time, my lawyer tells me, so they aren't really prepared. They haven't looked at your case at all. They didn't even realize that we were going for a speedy trial. So they're offering you 10 years minimum mandatory right now. So I was like, man, no way. 10 years, bro. I can't imagine 10 years. You know, at the time I'm 20. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be 30. I'm gonna be old as hell, man. Uh, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to cut my hair because I had long dreads at the time. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to cut my hair. Man, nah, not 10 years. Tell him I'll do 5 years. So he go to him, he come back, he say, man, nah. So in Florida, they had this thing called 10-20 life, right? Which was a minimum mandatory statute. So he said, man, they want to sentence you under the 10-20 life guidelines since there was a weapon used in the commission of a crime, right? There was a gun used in the commission of this crime, you know, minimum mandatory 10 years. So I'm like, man, nah, man, tell him I'll do 8 years. I told him like 7 or 8. Like, tell him I'll do 8, man, with some probation. He goes to him, he come back, he say, man, they're not coming off the minimum mandatory. So I'm like, yeah, he like, man, listen, I'm just telling you honestly, I think this is your best deal. You know, you don't gotta tell them nothing. You don't gotta all you gotta do is just plead guilty. So my mom and my dad, they were in the courtroom at the time. You know, I look at their face, I can tell that they been crying, but they try. So I know my lawyer done pretty much told them, you know, this what the deal is. And you know, the whole time, even though on the inside I'm shaking, I'm nervous, I'm, you know, all kind of feelings, but on my face, I'm just smiling. You know, I don't want them to see me concerned or worried or anything. So I'm like, you know, everything all good. I'm straight. I'm straight. So I finally just tell my lawyer, man, yeah, I'll go ahead and take the 10. So he goes to the district attorney, tell him, hey man, he said he'll take the 10. So at that time, the judge starts to tell me, man, you know, you really lucky. Your lawyer did a good job. The last 2 people who came in my courtroom who had the same exact case, I gave one of them a life sentence. I gave one of them 50 years. Right. And he was like, they were like 18 years old.
Wow.
So man, you lucky. And that was that, bro. You know, I started understanding that the charges I had were PBLs, which mean they punishable by life. So if I go to trial and I lose, you know, I can get up to a life sentence, natural life sentence. And so yeah, man, I just said, all right, I'll take the 10 years. And that's how it went. And what's so wild about it, my co-defendant who was cooperating from the get-go, he got the same 10 years. And I never said nothing about him. I never told him. I never implemented him in the crime or anything. I just pled guilty, and that was that. My other co-defendant, who was a juvenile at the time, he never got any trouble. He went home. You know, he never got sentenced in that case. You know, so that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so that's how it played out.
So, do you remember what your last words to your parents were before they locked you up?
Man, you know what? Yeah, I was just smiling. I was walking out the courtroom. You know, I found out later on that what really bothered them was to see me, you know, shackled up like that. You know, because I'm all shackled up. You know, I got the waist chains on, chained to my hands. You know, my feet chained up, and it just, you know, I had them shower slides on, and it just really bothered them to see me like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I just remember looking back at them when I was walking out the courtroom. I was smiling like, man, I'm straight. I'm good. I'm good. You know, don't worry about nothing. I'm good. You know, so I just walked out the courtroom smiling, you know, I wanted their last image of me to be, you know, a smiling face.
So when you got away from them, did the demeanor change?
On God, it changed. As soon as I walked to the back, and when I went in the back, dudes was like, they was calling me Dread at the time because I had long dreads. So they was like, Dread, what happened? What happened, Dread? So I was like, man, they gave me 10 years. And everybody like, damn, damn. So I literally did just like this, bro. Put my face on my shirt, you know, and I really, you know, like, couple tears fell. You know, I probably like, and I wasn't crying like, you know, crying to be crying. You know, I was tears just coming out because I was so upset. You know, I'm disappointed in myself. You know, I was upset that I done put myself in this situation. You know, I'm seeing my parents' face in my head. So a couple tears fell, bro, for probably like all of 10 seconds. Then I wiped it off. I was like, all right, man, you know, time to get back to it. I got to go ahead and get prepared now. So, yeah, that's just how I went, bro. A couple tears dropped. And after that, I was like, man, time to get to it now.
So did you do that 10 years in that same jail that you were held in, or they moved you somewhere else?
No, sir. So, the way it goes is, at least in Florida. So you have like 3 levels of jail per se, right? You have like the county jail, which is where I was at. That's where you are when you're awaiting your sentence, right?
Okay.
That's where you at when you fighting your case. You can bond out of the county jail. Then you have a federal prison, which you can get sentenced to. So once the judge issues you a sentence, you can get sentenced to federal prison, which is like the United States, that means you committed a crime against the United States. The federal government is punishing you. When you go to a federal prison, you can go to any prison in the United States. So you might get sentenced in Florida, but you might have crime like federal prison, like is if like you committed crime in multiple different states, right? Like, so if I committed a crime in South Carolina, like drug trafficking or something, then they're like, okay, well, you're gonna get sentenced to a federal prison. So I might go do time. I might go to a prison in North Dakota. I might go to a prison in Colorado. I might go to a prison in California. Whereas where I got sentenced to was a state prison. So in state prison, you basically can go to any prison inside the state of Florida. They got like if I'm not mistaken, they got like 120 state prisons in Florida. So I did my time in multiple different state prisons inside of Florida.
Okay. So what was your first day in state prison? What was that experience like for you?
Man, you bring back memories, bro. It's crazy because my very first day, right? I'm on the bus with other dudes that got sentenced to state prison time from out of the same kind of jail I was in, right? So other dudes from Jacksonville, and other dudes from I just say other dudes from Jacksonville. We all get on a bus called a Bluebird bus, and we ride to an intake center, which was Lake Butler, Florida Reception Center. So first day, they try to set the tone. The COs, they try to really set the tone. So as soon as we step off the bus, we go in, COs, they loud, they raucous, they aggressive. They trying to set the tone, let you know this ain't nothing to play with, right? They let you know, man, first quarter, we ready to put hands on you right now. You know, so especially one of you jitterbug. And at the time I was 20. So they like, yeah, you jit think y'all run everything, you know, y'all come in here, we putting hands on you first quarter, as soon as you get out of line. So I just remember it being real loud, real aggressive. And my mindset was, I had already set my mind that I want whatever pressure they got, you know, whatever smoke they, you know, I'm coming in with the mindset of I'm about to show them that I'm just as tough as they is. So, you know, if an inmate try me, I'm ready to fight first quarter, right? If a guard try me, I'm ready to fight the police first quarter. I'm just ready to make my mark from day one. So I went with the wrong mindset, you know, from the get-go. So as soon as we get there, I remember it just being uh demeaning, bro. I remember them like really, they making everybody strip naked, right? If you talk, they making you do push-ups butt naked, you know. I remember it was this old dude, and he really couldn't hear what the officer said because they talking fast and they talking loud and aggressive. So he set his property on top of his desk, on top of his table. This officer took all his property, threw it as far as he could, bro, slung all his stuff way over there. Then cussed him out, talked to him real demeaning, then told him to go pick up his stuff. And this dude probably like in his mid-60s, you know. So I was like, dang, bro, this the real deal. This the real deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like what I remember from the first day. That's what I really remember.
So how did you spend your daily like what was the daily routine like for you when you were locked up?
So again, I would say it kind of went in phases, right? So when I first got incarcerated, my daily routine was I didn't have a routine, right? I kind of had to figure out my routine. So I got in trouble immediately, right? Like my second day, I went to confinement. They said something to me. One of the officers said something to me, and I was like, man, I ain't doing that. They was like, what? You ain't doing that? I was like, man, hey man, I said what I said. They were like, oh, we got one. Oh, we got one. So they took me in this room like they wanted to fight me. They was about to jump on me, right? It's like 2 or 3 officers took me in this little small room, like they was about to jump on me. And I guess once they saw that I wasn't really showing signs of fear, once they saw that I really was, I'm like, let's do it. I'm ready. They was like, they just started talking to me, right? They like, this jit ain't got no sense, man. So they started talking to me, right? So after that, I got put in confinement. So initially, my routine was mostly figuring out confinement. I was getting in so much trouble, my first couple years that it was really, my routine was basically just arguing with the police, getting in fights. If I didn't like my roommate, I'm getting in fights because honestly, I really couldn't fight that good. So I really was trying to get in fights so I can kind of get my hands up, so I can kind of get prepared for this bid.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first little bit of time, it was mostly just getting in trouble. That was my whole routine, bro. Every day, just getting in trouble. Then I would say after maybe like 2 years or so, my routine kind of switched up. I kind of started getting into reading a lot more, right? Then reading is really what kind of started getting me on a different trajectory. And not reading fictional books, reading all like self-help books, reading business books. Then that's kind of how when I started like planning out my day. So every morning I would get up and I would like write out what I was going to do for the day, right? How I was going to be productive for the day. So that's how I started incorporating like working out, reading a certain amount of chapters a day, cleaning up. That's kind of how I started developing a routine. So but you got to think at this time I'm in confinement, so I'm on 24-hour lockdown. I'm locked in a cell. I'm locked in a cell 24 hours a day. So at that time, it's literally just my routine basically consisted of reading, working out, working on business plans, learning new stuff, and yeah, that was mostly it.
So what was the first book that really opened your mind and said that and made you pivot towards being more being more constructive and productive with your day?
Man, there's a book called Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. My favorite book to this day. I a couple years ago when I got out, I actually bought that book for me and my wife. So I don't know what it was about that book, bro. I don't know. It just gave me like a sense of community. It made me start understanding. It made me start understanding like that I had to it really sense of community. That's the first thing. It made me start really understanding that I was a part of a collective, right? It made me really start understanding that my actions affected more than just me, right? It made me start really understanding that how I live my life really contributes to my community as a whole. Now, at that time, I was looking at my community as just my family, right? But over time, that started to progress into, my overall community. So that really was the book that really started transforming my mind frame, bro. The way I see things, the way I think.
Good stuff, man. So when you were getting towards the end of your bid, did you already have a plan set up for what you were going to do once you were released?
Absolutely, absolutely. My plan was I was going to invest in vending machines, right? My plan was I had a whole business plan wrote out. I was going to do what kind of vending machines was it, man? Hold on, let me put my phone on the charger right quick.
All right.
Ugh, my bad, bro.
Oh, good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I was going to do homemade desserts and vending machines, right? So that was part of my plan. I knew I was going to get back into school. So I was already planning on enrolling in some type of community college. I knew I was going to be leaving Duval, and we can talk about that as well, how I got to that point of thinking like this.
Okay.
But I knew I was going to be living Duval. Initially, my plan was to go to North Carolina and live with my cousin. But that kind of folded at the last second, and I ended up moving to Orlando with my little sister. So I knew I was going to I knew I wanted to be in business. I knew I wanted to own a business. I knew I wanted to take on entrepreneurship. So that was that was pretty much my game plan when I got out. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I didn't know exactly how I was going to execute. I just knew that I was going to implement some of the strategies that I had been working on, some of the lessons that I had learned while I was incarcerated. I knew that I was going to go for business. So yeah, that was my plan when I got out.
Okay, and take us to the release day. What was that like for you?
Man, so release date. I woke up. My main man, he's still my partner to this day. I still talk to him. He still calls me to this day. I'm still tight with his brother to this day. My partner Gregory Magruder. G Money. Woke up. Now he got a life sentence, right? He got a life sentence for murder. And I remember thinking the toughest part was going to be me giving him doubt for the last time. And when I walk on the other side of the door, he can't come with me, right? So I remember that was a big part of my thought process. Like, man, this might be the last time I get to see bro face to face. This might be the last time I get to, shake his hand, dap him up. So I remember he walked me to the door. I was like, man, bro, I love you, bro. Man, I'm about to, it's tough. He was smiling, he was happy for me. But I still can remember like looking at his face. I can still see the look in his eyes, like, damn, like I'm happy for my dog, but at the same time, the reality setting in that, he gotta stay.
Yeah.
Man, and real spill, bro, that was tough, bro. That was tough. It was tough because I'm happy that, 10 years I'm about to go home. But at the same time, my partner, like, if something don't shake in his case, he got life here. So dap him up, walk through the door, and now I'm going through like the release process. I remember talking to getting my last little like paperwork and stuff. Damn, bro, you bringing back so many memories, bro. I'm thinking like, I remember they gave me my license. I hadn't saw my license in 10 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, dang, bro, I forgot all about this.
Yeah.
I remember the nurse asking me like, all right, you about to go back out there to the world, like, what's some of the most, what lessons did you learn? And I remember telling the nurse, man, I would say probably the most important lesson I learned self. And she was like, self? She was like, wow, that's the most impressive answer I ever heard from somebody leaving. She was like, man, because if you know self, then everything else gonna fall in place. I was like, yes, man, absolutely.
Exactly.
I was like, now I've learned like, what made me tick, right? I didn't understand that frustration was a trigger for me, right? I didn't know that I would get frustrated, bro, and instantly I would get so mad just from being frustrated, bro, like this. I just snap, right? And so I learned how to control those triggers, right? I learned, a lot about myself, bro. I learned what I like, what I don't like, right? I learned how to avoid situations. I learned how to recognize when I'm putting myself in a situation, right? So, yeah, bro, learning self. I remember having that conversation with the nurse. Then the thing I remember the most about that release date, bro, was so when you get in release, like a month before, your family can send you, clothes to go home in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I told my mom that I wanted to go home in business attire. I told her I wanted a dress shirt, a tie. I told her a money green shirt, because that's my favorite color, money green, right? So I said I want a money green shirt. I want a tie to match. I want some slacks and some hard bottoms, right, to go home in. So, bro, I was putting on, when I got my clothes, right, man, I'm taking off my prison clothes and I put on these clothes. I remember I put on my underwear and I put on the socks. And when I had some dress socks, right? So when I'm putting on the dress socks, I don't know if it was like the feel of the socks, the material, I don't know what it was, bro, but something about putting on those socks triggered me. And then that's when it kind of started welling up. I started trying to put on my clothes, bro, and I'm looking at my clothes, and bro, I couldn't stop crying, man. Like, on God, bro, I probably cried for like 20 minutes straight, bro. I just couldn't stop crying. It was just something about the clothes. So dudes who was in there who was getting out, it was like 3 or 4 more dudes who were about to get out, but none of them had done, nowhere near the time I had done.
Yeah.
Right. So they were like, at first they were like, man, all right, we feel, get it out, bro, get it out. I know it's overwhelming, it's a lot. But after a while, they were like, God, bro, man, you've been crying for a minute now, but you got to go and get dressed, bro. It's over with now. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro, you got it now. It's over with now, bro. So eventually, bro, after about 20 minutes, man, I finally stopped crying, bro, put my clothes on, and I didn't know how to tie a tie. So I had a dude, it was a dude in there who knew how to tie a tie. He tied the tie for me. And put it on me, bro. And I remember I started crying again, bro. Like, man, I'm looking at myself, and bro, it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming, bro. That was the most overwhelming moment, putting on those clothes. Then it was so crazy because the officers who was just treating me like I wasn't nothing was like, dang, well, okay, well, I see you, boy. I know you about to be something, boy. You ain't want to go home in no designer. You ain't want to go home in you want to go home in the business too. Boy, you about to get straight to the business. I remember it was an officer, I can't remember her name right this moment, bro. Start with a C, Crenshaw or something. Calloway, that was her name. Officer Calloway. She was like the rawest officer on the compound. All the dudes, trying to holler at her, right? I remember she was like, she never knew who I was. Now she giving me attention. She like, dang, boy, okay, I see you, boy. Dang, boy, you looking good. And I remember thinking to myself, like, thank you, but at the same time, like, you literally was just treating me like I was nothing. I'm still the same person, right? So yeah. Then I finally walk out. I see my mom. I hug my mom, and we start driving, bro. And she asked me, I want to grab something to eat. We stopped at like a little gas station or something. I still remember I had like an Oreo brownie. I was like, damn, Oreo make brownies? I ain't know that. That was like the first thing I tried, bro. I think we stopped at Subway or something, had a little something to eat. And after that, me and my mom just rolled and talked, and I remember I was telling my mom that I didn't really want her to, I wanted to ride the bus home because I didn't know, how my emotions was going to be. I didn't know how I was going to respond when I got out. I didn't know what my vibe was going to be like. And she was like, boy, you sound crazy. I'm coming to get you. So I'm glad she insisted on that because we rolled home and we were just talking, laughing, talking serious, enjoying each other's company. And, I just was kind of talking to her about like what my game plan was, what I had in mind. And that was pretty much it, bro. We got home, I got to talk to my family, see my immediate family, laid in the bed, and I was like, wow, a bed. And that was pretty much the first day, bro.
Man, that's an awesome story, man. Seriously. So what were some of the biggest adjustments you had to make once getting back into society?
Oh, a lot, bro. It was a lot of adjustments, a lot of adjustments. I'm trying to go down the list mentally right now. So one of the adjustments I had to make was my interaction with people, right? Like, and when you're in an incarceration situation, when you like, especially like in a prison, right? Just the way we communicate with each other, it's it's normal to us, but it's kind of like loud, it's kind of aggressive, it's a lot of cursing, right? So just the way I communicate with people, that was a big adjustment. Even to this day, I still struggle with that, right? Like even as we're talking right now, I'm mentally making notes, like, trying to make sure I don't, do any excessive cursing, you know. When I communicating with women, right? I was locked up 10 years. So the only communication with women that I really had, I did have somewhat of a girlfriend who was, kind of who I was able to talk to while I was incarcerated for some years. But for the most part, bro, speaking with women, man, I didn't that was a skill I had to develop, right? Being out. I got a wife now, and even now to this day, bro, I still have to adjust and adapt, how I talk to my wife and realize that I'm not talking to, a dude in the streets. I'm not talking to, I can't talk to her like I'm talking to somebody, in prison.
Yeah.
Right. But my mind been programmed. I mean, I was locked up from 20 to 30. So I kind of developed my communication skills in prison. So adapting that to how I communicate with people in the free world, that was an adjustment, and I'm still adjusting. Uh, Another thing was food, right? So I didn't even realize that uh I had been getting 3 meals prepared for me every day. So when it was time for me to get out and have to cook, bro, all I knew how to cook was eggs. And it's a funny story me and my wife tell, bro, even to this day, when me and my wife first met,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I was trying to I called myself trying to cook for her one day, right? Man, I like scrambled some eggs, then I put them like in like this tortilla wrap, but I I rubbed jelly inside the tortilla wrap,
Mm-hmm.
then put put the eggs in there, sprinkle some cheese on it, put some other stuff in there. Now she always exaggerate and say I put mustard in there too. But there wasn't no mustard in there, bro. It was just, it was like eggs. It was. She told me, yeah, it was. It was eggs, cheese, jelly, and like a tortilla wrap. So she looked at, she like, oh, okay, I see it. She took a bite, bro. She was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, ugh. Bro, she spit the food out right in my face, bro.
Oh
I'm talking about
no.
killed all my little self-esteem. Hey, not only that, she went to calling people. Oh my God, let me tell you what this boy just made for me, man. This man he trying to kill me. I just called your mama and your daddy. Hey, she called my mama, called my daddy. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it felt like it was more than that, bro. She told the whole world, oh, this boy can't cook. He made a wrap with some eggs and mustard and jelly. And so, yeah, bro, it was just a whole adjustment as far as like having to learn how to prepare food, bro. You know, because I didn't realize that I hadn't cooked a meal in over 10 years, you know, because when I got locked up, I was 20, so I wasn't cooking then, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I was fast food short at that time. So uh yeah, bro, just learning how to prepare food for myself, right? That was an adjustment. Uh yeah, man, so just things like that. It was little things like that that I had to really adjust to.
So speaking of your wife, how did you and her meet?
Man. So it really was fate, bro. It really was meant to be. Uh I was living in Orlando at the time. I came back in town. I came back to Jacksonville because I can't recall what all was going on that weekend, but one of the things for sure that was going on that weekend, excuse me, was the church that I grew up going to, the pastor had died, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pastor named R.J. Washington, Rodney Washington, real big church in Jacksonville. At the time, it was called the Titus Harvest Dome. Then it went to the Titus Harvest Spectrum, and I don't know, it changed names over time, but it was called Titus, right? So I was in town because one of the reasons I was in town because he had passed, and we were supposed to be going to like the wake or the funeral or something like that. So I was home. It was nighttime. I was in the bed, bro, about to go to sleep. I had the covers over me, and my homeboy at the time, he hit me up. He was like, "Boy, it's a little party going on in the city, man. You want to pull up?" So I was like, "Uh, not really, but I will." I hadn't really. When I got out, I really wasn't going out.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel like it's a cool little spot, then let's do it." So me and him supposed to be going to this house party, right? Whole time, it ain't a party at all. It's really a small little family get together. So me and my homeboy, we pull up, we walk in, it's probably 5 or 6 people in this house. So we walk in looking like, damn, where the party at? Whole time, they like, this is the party. I'm like, what? So the house we went to, it was my wife's house, right? So she was having like a little birthday party for one of her cousins. They didn't really know anybody to invite, I guess. So they started calling people, trying to see, okay, hey man, start trying to recruit people to this party.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her cousins called my homeboy and was like, man, we having a party over here, y'all pull up. So he called me and me and him pulled up to this little house party. Me and my homeboy, we the only two people that's not related at this party. So we get there, we start vibing, we start kicking it. And we were like, we're gonna go get some Uno cards. So me and my homeboy, we take off the run to like Walgreens or something, go get some Uno cards. And while we in the car, we kind of scouting, okay, this who I'm gonna holler at, this who you gonna holler at. So my homeboy, his plan was to holler at my wife, right?
Oh.
So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna holler at, I'm gonna get the little light skinned chick. So okay, bet. That's the game plan when we get back, right? We're gonna play some drunk Uno, we're gonna play some drunk card games, and we're gonna see how it goes. So we get back, we get the vibing, and my homeboy, he trying to holler at my wife, but she kind of like she really wasn't feeling it. She keep kind of coming towards me.
Okay.
So I'm really not, I really wasn't following up with it though, because me and brother already decided, what the game plan is. So he started trying to make his move towards her. And the more he make his move towards her, the more she keep kind of like giving him the cold shoulder and keep trying to come towards me like, what's up with you though? So I'm like, after a while, I was like, bro, I can't keep ignoring it now. I ain't about to keep putting off, she already looking like what I want, So I eventually we just started vibing. So it became evident that, we was hitting it off real good, right? So man, bro, we stayed up talking all night, bro. When I tell you we talked, everybody else had them fell asleep. Man, we sitting there, bro, we talked until like the sun came up.
Wow.
We sitting in there, bro, we sitting in the front room just steady vibing, talking, kicking it. And her cousins, they were ready to leave. They was like trying to go home, but they didn't want to leave. They didn't know me and my homeboy, so they like,
right.
Man, I ain't about to just leave my cousin with these dudes, man.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll like leave and then come back and like, hey man, like what's up? You straight? You all good? So eventually, my wife was like, yeah, man, we still talking, we still kicking, we still vibing, we good. She started letting them know like, man, I'm okay, I'm good. Bro, we sat up there and talked all night, bro. I can't remember everything we talked about. The only thing I remember we talked about for sure, I remember we talked about Malcolm X's autobiography, because both of us were like, man, that's what one of our favorite books.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. And I read a lot of books while I was incarcerated, bro. So I'm kind of, I was kind of well versed at so many different topics, bro. I could talk about anything. You can bring up a topic about anything, and I can just start talking about it, right? So that's kind of how it was. She was like, dang, boy, you know about a lot. So I told her that I was that I had just got out of an incarceration situation. Now I ain't gonna lie, right? At the time, and this is a big point of contention for a long time, because I didn't want to tell her that I really lied about this, right? But at the time, I lied about how much time I had did, because I had just got out, bro. I had been out maybe like 5 or 6 months.
Okay.
So, and I had been trying to like talk to women, and anytime I would tell them, yeah, I just did 10 years, automatically I closed the door. So I really, really was liking this woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, shoot, she got a full house, bro, like a nice house. You know what I'm saying? She got her own car. She already got everything going for her. So I'm like, and she young. She was like 25, 26 at the time. So I'm like, damn, bro, she got so much going for herself. She and she young. I'm like, bro, I don't wanna mess this one up. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah. So when I tell how much time I did, I don't remember. I may have told I did like 2 years or 5 years, something like that. But I definitely ain't tell her 10 years, right? I think I told her I did like 5 years. She told me her dad had done did some time. Her dad did like 13 years. So her dad wrote books, So she was kind of hesitant because I told her that, I just got out of prison, but she didn't shut the door on me. So once I saw that she ain't shut the door, I was like, boy, I gotta lock this one in. I gotta secure it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm like, man, as far as physically, she raw, right? So I'm like, bro, my preference, it's just me, I like a fat rump. So I'm like, boy, she everything I like. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She's tall. Now I don't necessarily always go for tall women, but at the time, my preference wasn't necessarily physical, right? I really was more so I was looking for a female that was kind of like, aligned with me as far as like how I think, right? So once we was able to talk all the way till the sun came up, bro, I was like, yeah, this my vibe. This my vibe. So that was really like our first day, bro. And from that day forward, we was like, I mean, honestly, bro, even up until this day, bro, there hasn't been a day that we didn't at least talk, since that very first day. So that was kind of how I started, bro. Now it was a little complicated because I was living in Orlando with my little sister, and she was living in Duval and had, her whole life already gone. So, it definitely took some work. I was driving back and forth to Duval on a consistent basis. I'm talking about, bro, I might go to work, uh, get off at like 4 o'clock, slide to Duval, stay with her till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, get up and drive all the way back to Orlando and go to work, and just doing that pretty consistently. And yeah, bro, eventually, uh, it was like, okay, you got to move to Orlando. So that's kind of how it played out, bro. And so it's still going.
So how long have y'all been together?
You trying to get me in trouble now, bro? Let me see. We got together. We met May 2017. But I got out December 2016. We met May 2017 on her cousin Ronisha's birthday. Now I'll be forgetting what day it was, but I do remember it was Ronisha's birthday. So from May 2017 up until now, so that's what, like 6 years, 6.5 years, something like that.
Yeah. And I see that y'all got married last year. So
yes,
talk about that.
Man, so we were together for like 5, 6 years. And we were overdue, bro. It was really time for us to get married, you know. Now on my behalf, you know, just coming up how I came up, I had never really put a lot of thought into marriage, I never really put a lot of thought into oh well, this and this and this got to be in place, then I'm gonna get married. I had never really planned or strategized on how I was going to get married, right? So we probably should have been married. I had never really I just never really made it as much of a priority as I should have. But once we kind, we would have conversations about it, and we started having conversations about it more and more frequently, and I was to the point where I was like, let's do it, let's do it. And my wife, I could tell it really meant something to her. So I was ready to let's make it happen. Right. So we started planning it. We started, kind of preparing for it. And I had no reservations about excuse me. I had no reservations about us being married because in my mind, we kind of had already been living as though we were married. We had already been living together. We had already been pretty much every aspect of our life was already intertwined. So yeah, we just made it official. Bro.
There it is. And now I want to get into the second act, the HVAC business. So when did you first get interested in HVAC?
So HVAC came about a little less than a year after I got out, right? So I got out December 2016. I got my first job in HVAC like September, October 2017. And it really was happenstance, bro. I was working at Central Florida Fairgrounds. That was my first job with this dude Jay from Miami and a dude named V from Miami. They hired me, and I was just working hard. I was a pretty hard worker, showing up every day, on time every day. And what happened was the dude V, he ended up going to an HVAC company for whatever reason. And when he went to the HVAC company, I guess they told him that, they were looking for more guys. They were looking to hire more people. And so he started reaching out to guys. He reached out to another guy who was still working at Central Florida Fairgrounds and asked him, did he want to come over there to the HVAC company? And he was like, maybe, maybe not. He was kind of dragging his feet on it, right? So I just overheard the conversation. And I was in the background. I was like, hey, V, man, I want to work at an HVAC company. Because in my mind, I was thinking, working for an air conditioning company, I'll be working in air conditioning, not knowing that I'm doing a job at if I'm putting in air conditioning, it's because the place don't got air conditioning, right? So and then when they get the air conditioning, my job is over, so I'm gone. So it really started just like that. I just overheard the conversation. I was like, hey, V, man, I want to work. I'll work at an air conditioning company. So he was like, man, all right, I'll send your application. Bring your application in. I'll tell them about you. Bring your application in and go from there. So that's what I did. Got the application. Went to this HVAC company. Gave them my application. And the dude did not hire me at first. The dude shot me down. Treated me pretty nasty, to be honest, bro. Man, he went to put my application in the garbage right on my face while we were doing the interview. And I was like, damn. Then he was like, then he tried to give me the application back. I'm like, I don't want it. I don't need it. So he was like, okay, well, I'll put it in the file cabinet, and if something come up, then we'll give you a call. I was like, all right. But the whole time I was thinking like, I don't get it. V told me that these people was desperate for people, right? They're looking to hire people. And V was a convicted felon, right? He had did like 25 years. So I was like, well, if they hire him, I know they'll hire me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, the dude just, for whatever reason, he just didn't take a liking to me. But the thing was, I came in the interview with the mindset that I had adopted from my dad. My dad had told me, a long time ago. I don't even know why this piece of advice stuck with me for so long, but it did. I'm glad, he told me this. My dad told me a long time ago, when you interviewing for a job, dress like you're the one hiring. Dress like you're the boss. Don't dress like you coming in, to get a job. Dress like you run the place. So I came into this HVAC company, you know, suit and tie on, right? The same outfit that I got out of prison with, bro. That my mom bought me for when I was coming home. That same tie, shirt. It maybe was a different shirt. It maybe was like a white shirt, I think, but it was the same pants, same socks, same shoes. So when I went into the interview, the whole time I didn't know that the owner of the company was there. And when they saw me, they thought that I was there to audit them, right? Because there was no black people working at the company at the time. And definitely coming into an HVAC company, they're not accustomed to seeing people dressed like that, you know, coming in for application. Usually dudes coming in with jeans on or, you know, just dressed, you know, however. So the owner came and asked the dude, hey, you know, so what was up with the guy? They thought that I was there to audit them, right? He thought I was an auditor. So they're like, what was up with the auditor? So when he told him, oh, nah, he wasn't an auditor, he was here trying to get a job, the owner was like, what? He was trying to get a job? So what's up with him? When the dude told him that he didn't hire me because I was a convicted felon, the owner said, man, call that dude back and tell him that we want to hire him. Because if that dude come present himself like that, he probably gonna be worthwhile. So give him a shot. So the guy called me back like a week later, say, hey man, the owner said that, you know, he like how you presented yourself, you know, he like for you to come back, you know, we like to offer you a job. So I was like, yeah, I still want the job. Came back, bro, and yeah, they gave me a job. I started off doing commercial installs. This was in Orlando. I started off as the low guy on the totem pole, right? Literally just doing a little, you know, like a labor type job, whatever little task they can, you know, entry level tasks they have for me. And yeah, that's kind of how I started. But I just continued to learn as much as I could. I started teaching myself how to read the blueprint. Once they saw that I was teaching myself how to read the blueprint, dude started teaching me certain stuff. Like, look, okay, this is what this means, this is what this means, this is how you read this. And I could pick up quick, you know, I can learn pretty quick. So I just continued to learn. And yeah, bro, it just progressed from there.
Man, so the first, let's say the first HVAC system that you worked on, and did you feel any kind of accomplishment, any sense of accomplishment when you successfully like troubleshot and successfully repaired the unit?
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. So now that didn't happen immediately, right? That took a while, right? I would say I didn't get to that point until maybe like year 2, right? But what happened was I was working at the same company, right? And I just didn't like how they were treating me. I was like one of the hardest workers, always on time, always, you know, never missing days, right? I was outworking the other guys who were in my little group, right? So I was like, I gotta figure out how I can move up. So I decided to get into school, go to trade school for HVAC. So while I was in trade school, I started telling my teacher, man, you know, I'm just not happy with the job I'm working at. They're just not treating me right. Excuse me. So my teacher was like, well, you definitely one of the best students, right? I see you come to class every day. You're not BSing around. You know, you're always working on what you're supposed to be working on, always doing what you're supposed to be doing. I tell you what, I know a guy that's hiring. Get this guy a call, you know, tell him that I sent you, and he's gonna give you a job. He's looking to start off at like he's looking to hire somebody for like $27 an hour. And at the time, I was making like $13 an hour. So I get a guy a call, and I wasn't really confident in being able to like fix systems, repair systems, because really the only thing I knew about fixing systems, repairing systems was what I learned in school, in class. I never really did it in the field. So the guy was like, yeah, man, so we're looking for somebody who can we're looking for somebody who can do commercial service. Now at the time I had only done commercial installs. So I was like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. So he was like, cool. How much you looking? No, he asked me, he tricked me. He said, how much you getting paid now? So I was making like 13 at the time. I said, man, I'm making like 19. So he said, 19? No problem. I'll give you 20 bucks. So I said, okay, cool. So I got the job. I started working doing commercial service. I got my first call where they was like, hey, there's a system over here at this, I think it was a bank or something. The system isn't working. We need you to go fix this system. I get over there, bro. I didn't know what to do. I was stuck. I was trying to figure it out. I'm Googling stuff. I'm calling people. I'm trying to figure it out, right? It took me like 4 hours. I finally figured out what it was, bro. Finally figured it out, right? And I got it fixed in 4 hours, but my boss was like, golly, bro, that was, an hour at the max we were expecting, right? So I was like, yeah, man, it took me a while, but I did figure it out. So at that point, they kind of started like putting me with another guy to kind of start helping me with repairs. But the thing about it was, I was going to night school, so anytime I would run into an issue at work, even if I couldn't figure it out, when I went to school that night, I would tell my teacher, hey, this is what I ran into. Like, how should I have been thinking? How was I supposed to figure this out, right? Like, what's some of the signs, like, help me out, basically. So my teacher would kind of start guiding me, start like giving me the right mindset. Okay, well, when you run into something like this is how you're supposed to be thinking. Always start at this point, and then start working your way down. So that's really what started helping me with figuring it out. But that's really what built my confidence. But the first time I actually did a system 100% all by myself was actually my cousin. My cousin, I told her that I was, I do HVAC work, and she was like, "Oh, I forgot you do AC." She was like, "Man, my system, I need a new system, and my mom and dad need a new system." So I was like, "All right, I can do it." I was pretty confident, but I hadn't actually done it yet. Man, I went down there, bro. I went to my cousin's house, took out her old system, put in the new system, did it 100% all by myself.
Wow.
Bro, at that point, I was walking around like this. I'm like this guy. I'm like, yo, big dog, big dog. So once I did that, she told her mom and dad, which was my auntie and uncle, that I did hers and I'm gonna come do theirs. So then I did theirs. So once I did theirs, now I had a little bit of trouble doing theirs, but for the most part, I did the whole thing by myself. So at that point, it was solidified. I know I can do it. I know I can do it. So yeah, bro, that's that sense of accomplishment, not just knowing that I could do it because I did it on my own, but also the sense of I had helped my family, right? Because my cousin Stacy, shout out to my cousin Stacy, her husband had just died, right? And he was kind of in the HVAC. He wasn't doing it that long, but he had kind of gotten into it. So he had like a bunch of tools and stuff over there. And that's kind of how the conversation started, because she was like, man, I gotta find somebody to get his stuff too, since he had just passed. And I was like, well, I'll take it, And she was like, oh, I forgot you do this stuff. So once I did her system, being able to help her, knowing she was kind of going through a tough time at the time because her husband had just died, right? So I was able to take that little bit of that was one less thing she had to be concerned about. Because in Florida, bro, if you don't got air conditioning in Florida, man, it's the next thing to being in hell. So being that I was able to do that for her, specifically at that time when she was going through a tough time. And then my aunt and uncle, they like 80 years old, and they hadn't had air conditioning for 5 years, bro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that. So me being able to put that system in for them, man, you should hear how they talk about me now, bro. They like, man, they be so, but they speak so highly of me now. And for me to be able to take that off of them, bro, and to not only have that sense of accomplishment, but to have that sense of I'm contributing to my family, right? It really brought that book back. How we were talking about Powernomics, right? And how I developed that sense of community from that book. Man, when I put that system in for my aunt, uncle, and for my cousin, it really brought that feeling back full circle. Like, yeah, well, I'm on the right track. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really fulfilling what I'm supposed to be fulfilling. So yeah, bro, that feeling was really what spurred me into trying to teach other guys HVAC. Because I was like, dang, bro, I need to teach other dudes that have been in the same situation like me so they can be an asset to their family. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro, that's really what it was.
And speaking of that, and speaking of mentioning books, you put out a book entitled HVAC Guide. So let's talk about that. What was going into the creation of that book?
So exactly what I just said, bro. That's the segue. So it really started from me having that thought of, okay, when dudes get out of prison, because I had a couple homeboys that's still incarcerated, and I'm still in touch with them, right? So I just started thinking, okay, well, when these boys get out, they got to have a game plan. So I'm gonna just teach them, that this HVAC industry. I'm gonna teach them the HVAC game that I'm implementing for myself. So that way they'll already have a direction where they can start making money, right? Because I already know that's the number one thing. They're gonna want to get a job first quarter. Okay, don't go get a regular job. Don't go get you a job, get you a career, right? So, and by career I mean learn you a specific skill set that is a marketable skill that you can apply anywhere. So that's why I want to give them the HVAC game. So it started with me thinking along those lines. And it took a little time to really put the book together, but I was just thinking like, okay, well, I'm a teach dudes this when they get out. A dude who I listen to pretty religiously, 19 Keys, right? Dude named 19 Keys. I was listening to 19 Keys. I was listening to this dude Wall Street Trapper. I was listening to Eric Thomas pretty heavy. I was listening to Earn Your Leisure, Troy Rashad. I was listening to Him 500, Marcus Barney. I'm listening to all these dudes like every day, right? So the dude 19 Keys, I really remember him saying, every man should write a book, right? You gotta have a book. There's no reason why every man shouldn't write a book. I don't care what you write it about, but you gotta have a book. Then I remember Eric Thomas saying something pretty similar. He was like, every man should do these three things, right? You should write a book, you should plant a tree, and you should have a child, or at least raise a child, even if it's not your own, raise a child, right? Those three things are direct contributors to your legacy, right? Those are three things that are going to live long after you gone, right? So once he planted that seed, I was like, okay, I gotta plant a tree, I gotta write a book, and I gotta raise a child. So I'm thinking like, okay, write a book. What I'm gonna write a book about? Duh, I'm gonna write a book about HVAC, right? So I'm already on, So I was like, well, if I write a book about HVAC, how's it gonna go? I was like, well, now that I'm thinking about it, it ain't gonna be that hard. I'm gonna just write about what I do every day, right? Because at work, uh, I'm installing systems. So at this time, I was installing residential systems. So I was like, well, it's like a order of operation. It's a sequence that you got to go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
First you do this, then you do this, then you do this. And sometimes they will put me with a new guy, right? They put me with a helper, and I got to teach this dude, pretty much everything. So I'm gonna have to teach a dude, okay, bro, what tools you got? Okay, you got no tools. Okay, you got some tools. Okay. So based on what tools he got, that kind of dictates what task I give him or what order I start teaching him things in, right? Based on his experience and based on his tools. Some dudes might not have any tools. They might not have any experience. And I got to make them my helper. I got to teach them. So I just started realizing, man, this is what I'm going to have to do for my partners that's coming home when they get out of prison. I have to teach them this. So I might as well write it down. So that's how I started putting the book together, bro. I just started literally writing down step by step what I do at work. And then from that point, I just started I bought 19 Keys course, right? Because he had a course where he said, man, I can teach you how to become an author in 4 weeks. If you put in the work, you can be an author in 4 weeks. I was like, bingo, that's what I need. So I bought his little course. And it came with so much value because it was so much more than just how to write a book, how to become an author in 4 weeks. He gave so much game. He was giving game about crypto. He was giving game about mindset, right? He was giving game about what he called it, man. He called it letters to Garcia about and letters to Garcia was basically about the mindset of taking initiative, right? You may not have all the instructions. You may not have everything you need to get to the final result, but just get started with what you got. So when I'm listening to all this advice and all this game he giving me along with how to become an author in 4 weeks, I just start putting it in motion. So all of that is really what contributed to the book coming together. And then from there, bro, I just started figuring out how to make it happen, and I just made it happen.
So what was the process of getting the book made? What was that like?
So that was it was relatively easy. It was relatively easy. I was in this networking group. I was in this networking group. It was David Shan, Nehemiah Davis, and Wall Street Chopper, right? I saw an ad with them. They were like, man, look, all three of us, we coming together. We putting together this package for people who trying to get to that next level, right? So it started off with like a Facebook. No, it started off as a Zoom call. And if you pay, now the Zoom call was free, but if you pay $50, you can get in the VIP. And the VIP came with access to this Facebook group, right? So it came with access to the Facebook group, and you get to ask a question to one of these guys. So I jumped in the Facebook group, and from the Facebook group, we all started networking. And everybody was just throwing out what they do, right? Mm-hmm. So this lady threw out, I take books from my bad. If you want to be an author, I'll make you an author, right? Or I take it from a manuscript to a finished product. I said, bingo, that's what I'm looking for. So I hit her up. Now I misspoke. I said her name wrong. on a previous podcast. Her name is Yolanda Lewis, not Yolanda Johnson. Yolanda Lewis. And she was in the Facebook group. I hit her up. I said, hey, I'm gonna DM you. We start messaging Facebook Messenger. And I told her, what I had. I was like, hey, I got, the book. I just got it written out right now. No, actually, I had already had it typed out. So let me start over. I wrote it out in a notebook, step by step. I had this girl, Ishna Wakiel, shout out to Ishna. She typed it up for me. When she typed it up, I took what she typed up and sent it to an editor on Fiverr, on the Fiverr app. I paid Ishna a couple $100 to type it up. And I found the editor on Fiverr. And then the editor on Fiverr edited it for me for a couple $100 and sent me a PDF. Then, at that time, that's when I connected with the lady Yolanda Lewis. I told her, all I got is the PDF from the editor. I sent her that, and she took care of everything else. So, and we did it together, right? So she would, it would kind of go like in phases. Like, I think it was like 4 phases. So like the first phase, we figured out like what the title is going to be, like what the cover is going to be. The second phase, we figured out like some more parts of it. So she would basically just say, okay, this is what we at with it now. Give me your or here are some recommendations, here are some suggestions. Pick one out of this, right? So she sent me like 5 covers. I was like, oh, I like that one, right? Okay, what about these color schemes? Oh, I like that one. Okay, we're going to do it like this, this, and this. How you feel about that? Okay, perfect. Then she edited it. She sent it to me to go over it after it got edited the first time. Perfect. Then she did some more, then we got to edit it again. Perfect. So basically, she took care of everything, bro. She took care of everything. She got to put on Amazon, got to put on Kindle, got to put on Barnes and Noble. She set up the accounts for all that stuff. She took care of all that. And she charged me like $1,700 for that. Now, I could have got it done for a lot less if I would have been willing to do a lot more of the leg work. But I wasn't trying to do all the leg work because I'd be busy. So since this is what she do, she take books from beginning to end. I just pay her to take care of as much as possible.
Man, and where can people find this book?
So you can find my book on Amazon for sure. On Kindle for sure. I would prefer that you find it that you get it on my website. My website is visiontransition.com. Visiontransition.com. And you can go right on there, order it, $15 on my website. On Amazon, it's a bit of a price difference because Amazon got to get their cut too. So, but if you buy directly from my website, $15.
There it is. Make sure y'all check out that book. It's HVAC Guide by Mr. Joseph Johnson. I want to get into when you moved to Colorado. What sparked that move?
Okay, so the move to Colorado. So I would say it was a collection of things, So for one, my wife and I, we were living in Orlando at the time, right? And I was kind of so while I was incarcerated, I kind of developed this thought process of wanting to really see the world, wanting to move around, right? Excuse me. So when I got locked up, bro, I was 20. I had never left Florida, right? Outside of going to Atlanta once, maybe twice, but I think I had only been to Atlanta once. Besides that, I had never left Florida, right? So I remember one day I was just in my cell thinking to myself, like, man, I never saw snow. I never saw a mountain. I never saw a kangaroo. I never saw, bro. I never been on a cruise. It's so much I've never done, bro. And I could have got a life sentence, bro. And I remember thinking I could die in here, right? Because at the
Mm-hmm.
time I was still kind of wild, right? I'm fighting with the police, getting in fights with people. I was like, man, I could die, bro, and never. And I couldn't tell you about nothing beyond the north side of Duval. You know, maybe some of the east side, maybe some of the west side, but I can't tell you nothing past Duval County. So I kind of started developing this mindset of, man, I gotta like go see stuff, bro. I gotta like experience the world. So uh when I got with my wife, she was all about like traveling, right? She was all about going to see stuff, right? So uh the first place we went was to Philadelphia. We went to Philly for like it was like a family reunion. You know, I got some family in Philly. We went on a family reunion in Philly, and that was my first time traveling. I was like, yes, boy, this what I'm on. This what I'm on. I mean, we went and checked out a museum. We went, cause everywhere we go, we always go to an African American museum, no matter where we go, bro. We go to an African American museum every city we touch down in. So I really was like, yeah, but this what I'm on. And my wife, she was really like supportive of that. So and at uh planning these trips, right? So I just tell her, hey babe, I think I wanna let's go over here. Let's go over here. Let's go to this city. Let's go to this city. All I gotta do is mention it, bro. I mention it, she owns it. She gonna find us somewhere to go. She always figure out how to make the experience like great. So we were in the mindset of traveling already. And after we went to Philly that first time, I already had that seed planted like, okay, yeah, we probably gonna move out of Orlando. We're gonna move from Florida, right? I'm thinking about living somewhere else. And then I was of the mindset of, we both been in Florida our whole life. Uh um Eventually we're gonna, start having a family. Do we want to just raise our family, just in Florida? Like because once we have a child, we probably gonna be stuck in Florida. So let's kind of start figuring out like where we want to really settle down at, before we really like start, really locking in on having a family. So we we started just exploring places, bro, just going places. Uh, and we were on our way to Austin, Texas. That was one of the places because I was like, man, I want to check out Texas because my little sister she really wanted to move to Texas. So I was like, yeah, let's check out Texas, right? On our way to Austin, Texas, bro, we missed our flight strictly because of my dumb ass, bro. Man, we in the airport and missed our flight because I was trying to grab something to eat. So we actually had to do a layover uh in Denver, Colorado to get to Austin. So the layover was pretty long. It was a long layover. So since we had such a long layover, we had a little chance to kind of like to see the city just a little bit, not a lot, but just to kind of see Denver just a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every single person we interacted with while we were in Colorado for that little bit of layover, it was like, damn, bro, everybody was cool, you know. Then I saw a mountain. I was like, dang, look at the mountain. I'm like, damn, whatever, whoa. Loved it. Right? I was like, man, but we didn't even think about Denver. Let's check out Denver. So uh that's all I had to say, bro. We put Denver on the list. So man, she booked this Airbnb for us in Pine, Colorado. Man, we went out there, bro. We got to the Airbnb, fell in love, bro. Every morning, watching the sun rise over the mountain. Every morning. I'm on live. I'm going live every morning. Watch the sun rise over the mountain. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. And the people who actually own the Airbnb, we real good friends. Like to this day, we like this, bro, real tight, right? They actually became our first friends in Colorado. So the vibe from the moment we stepped foot in Colorado, the vibe was tremendous. So we also linked up with a cousin of mine who's actually from Philly, but he lives in Colorado, right? So we linked up with him. Never met before, bro. The first time we linked, it was like we was family from the very second we met. Even to this day, bro, we like this. Like we got business together. We run a farm together, bro. Like we instantly we locked in. So yeah, bro. So every single person we met in Colorado, it was just good vibes. Everything was great. Every time we came out here, bro, it was great. So eventually we was like, man, yeah, let's move out there. Let's move. We don't really know nobody out there. The only people we know out here was the people from the Airbnb and cause in Greeley. Only people we know, bro. So we didn't have a real support system or nothing. We just went forward, and that's you know, as a side note, bro, that's just another testament, another salute to my wife, bro, because she don't never be about holding me back, bro. When I be like, man, let's do something, she be with it. You know what I'm saying? She don't never be trying to hold me back from fulfilling some of the stuff that I really want to, fulfill. So she was with it, I was with it, bam, we did it, bro, and made it happen. She found a job at a law firm. She's an accountant. She does some accounting at this law firm. And for me, since I do HVAC, it wasn't no problem, bro. Man, I jumped on Indeed, put my resume on Indeed for jobs in Colorado. Man, I had like 6 offers, bro, first quarter. And I'm talking about, and they paying good in Colorado. They paying good in Colorado, but it ain't like Florida is okay, but Colorado, they paying good. So I was like, yeah, man. Then I started doing some research. I'm like, okay, well, what kind of money can you make in the HVAC industry in Colorado, right? I started seeing some crazy numbers, crazy numbers. Oh, yeah, I'm a service tech in Denver. I make 150K a year. I was like, what? Oh, this is where I need to be. Another dude. Oh yeah, I'm a such and such in Denver. No, like in Golden, somewhere in Colorado, right? Yeah, I made like 220 a year. I was like, what? Yeah, man, that's where we going there. So yeah, I put my application in, bro. Man, I started getting offers. I got like 6 offers, bro, just like that.
Man,
So that's just another testament to, bro, learn a skill set, bro, learn a trade. You know what I'm saying? And all this, bro, and I'm a convicted felon. All violent charges on my record, and they weren't concerned about none of that, bro. So yeah, bro, that's kind of how we got to Colorado, man. It was really the vibe, and yeah, this all started with a layover. It started with a layover.
man, that is such a wild story, but it's so dope that it's like as soon as you and your wife touched down, you knew just right off rip that this is where you needed to be.
For sure, bro. Soon as we touched down, I mean, I remember, bro, we was in the airport. We was in the airport, right? And uh we were in a store or something in the airport, and it was a lady. She said something to me. I was like, yes, ma'am, because I'm big on the yes, ma'am, yes, sir, right? So I was like, yes, ma'am, yes. I said yes, ma'am, like 2 or 3 times. She was like, you not from here? Where you from? I was like, oh, I'm from Florida. She was like, yeah, I can tell. She was like, boy, you so mannerable. She was like, God, she was like, man, you just don't see that often these days. She was like, man, you such a, she just went to complimenting me so like out of nowhere, right? And after that conversation, I was like, damn, that was kind of, that was kind of random, but it was just a real good vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was literally probably like the very first person I spoke to in Colorado. That was in the airport, in a store somewhere in the airport, right? After that, bro, our Uber ride. We got a Uber to matter of fact, because we stuck in Denver, right? I'm like, man, we don't know nobody out here. We just calling anybody we know to see, hey man, anybody got any family, do anybody know somebody in Denver? Maybe we can take that. Maybe just go to their house and sleep for the night, man. Because we stranded in Denver, our flight don't leave till sometime tomorrow. And a homeboy of mine, he was like, man, my little brother, dad, stay in Denver. He good people. I stay in Aurora somewhere. He good people. He go his number. Hit him up. Bro, I called this man. It's probably about 11 o'clock at night. He was like, yeah, man, pull up. Me and my wife pull up to this man. How this man don't know us from a can of paint. We pull up. He bring us in, bro. Open arms, bro. Made breakfast for us. Let us sleep. Let us take a shower. Let us get ourselves together. I'm like, damn, boy, Colorado got some good people, because in Florida, the vibe just ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you might run into some, not that it's not good people in Florida. I'm saying that in Florida, this is what I didn't realize, right? In Florida, and it could have just been my environment. So it could just be, because of my experience, but it's oversaturated with Black people. So when we run into each other in Florida, it's like we're looking to get over on each other. It's not, but in Colorado, the Black people are a lot more spread out. So we run into each other out here, first quarter is love. Hey, boy, what's up? How can I help you? You know what I'm saying? Just the mindset to add value is there. You know what I'm saying? As far as when we run into each other out here. So that was something that immediately caught my attention, and that being my experience, bro, since I've been in Colorado. So yeah, bro, every single person we was running into in Colorado, it was just all love, bro. It was all love.
Man, it's so dope to see you just to see the trajectory of your life just take the turn that it did based off of you changing your mindset off that one book in prison. And just once you took that step and seeing how life just worked in your favor once you took that step. And
Man,
it seemed like everything just fell into place for you.
Now, I'm glad you said that, bro. That's why I'm a big proponent of mindset, bro. That's why I'm a big proponent of mindset, because, everything is about perspective, bro. You can, it's just all about how you look at things, bro. And if you have the right perspective, then you're going to attract the good things in life, bro. You know what I mean? If you always see the good in whatever situation, you're going to always attract the good in whatever situation. So that's what I be on, bro. So, I mean, the book is about, how to get started in the HVAC industry, right? But in reality, the book is really just like an installment in a program that my wife and I are putting together. I'm really trying to get to the point of being able to help guys coming out of that incarceration situation. It ain't even got to be prison, bro, because I got to stop saying that. Just helping guys really build that type of mindset that's going to attract the good in life no matter what.
Man, and y'all are doing a fantastic job with that, man. Salute to y'all. Now, I want to lighten up the mood just a little bit. We're going to do the 5-question segment. So the first and last question are the same question I ask every guest I have on here. Questions 2 through 4 are 100% random. So question number 1, What were Joseph's go-to school lunch items?
What was my go-to school lunch item?
Yeah.
So I was already prepared for this because I see that you like to ask this question. So I was thinking about this, right? So again, it went in phases. So in middle school, bro, my go-to lunch item was, and I still remember, bro, Highlands Middle School. They had this cinnamon roll. I mean, it's a big, huge, I'm talking about ridiculous, just, it don't make no sense how big this cinnamon roll is, bro. Big cinnamon roll, full of sugar, full of just hyperness, right? So that's what it was in middle school. When I got to high school, it was this and I already know this is what everybody say, right? It was a pizza, bro. It was that round pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And so at Reebok Middle School, they had like different lines. They had like the regular lunch line, and you can get like a lunch tray. So it would be like a slice of pizza with like some other little stuff on it, right? But that ain't what I go get. They also had the express line. The express line, you can get like a personal pan pizza, right? It was like a round pizza for like $1.75. Then I get that. I get a Fruitopia, right? I don't know if you remember the Fruitopia dress.
Man, I used to bust them Fruitopias down in school.
Who you telling? Well, I get a Fruitopia. I get the pizza, the Fruitopia, and a Rice Krispie treat. That was every day. That was every day. Then when I started getting a little money, I felt like I really was a man. Who, man, it's pizzas on me. Pizza for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'll buy about 3-4 people pizza. You know, I started really feeling like on the man. I'll probably show off a little bit. You know, I'll probably go buy like 3 little females of pizza. You know, like, yeah, that's me. This is what I do. You know, I'll buy my homeboys a pizza. Then it got to the point to where we're not even eating lunch at school no more. So I went to a high school called Reebok High School, right? So right behind Reebok, they had this little restaurant called Reebok Wings and Things. So it wasn't even about in school no more. Now it's about, okay, we're going to Reebok Wings and Things. You know, so I go to Reebok Wings and Things, get me like a 10-piece sweet and tangy wing with the bread roll, you know. Then after that, I was getting in a lot of trouble at Reebok. So I ended up getting kicked out of school. I ended up having to move with my auntie in Palm Coast, and I was going to school out there in Palm Coast. I was going to Pedro Menendez. So I went from a hood school, a super thugged out school, right, to a predominantly white school. And I'm the only one in the school with dreads, gold teeth, you know, and that was a culture shock. So there, they had like restaurants in the school. So they had a Chick-fil-A in the school.
Are you serious?
So, yeah, they had a Chick-fil-A right in the cafeteria.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. So then my go-to lunch item would be a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Yeah, bro. So that's why I say it kind of went in favor.
Okay. Question number 2. You stuck on an island with 3 albums. What albums would they be?
3 albums. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, right? Now this gonna be a little bit left field, but real spill, if I'm stuck on the island, this is what I'm locked in on. And my wife can attest to this because this is what I be on every day. Number 1, I'm listening to it's not even an album, bro. It's just I got this thing on YouTube that I listen to every night, bro. It's Millionaire Mindset Affirmations, right? So I'm listening to affirmations over and over and over and over and over. Now, if I'm stuck on an island, it probably ain't gonna be money affirmation. It probably ain't gonna be a millionaire affirmation. It's probably gonna be more like some type of survival affirmation, right? Some type of affirmation that's gonna keep me going every day. So over and over and over, I'm gonna just be replaying. I can survive, right? I have the will to live, right? I am going to make it home to my family. My family loves me. We're gonna make it, right? I'm gonna just be playing that to some music over and over and over and over and over. That's all I'm listening to that constantly. Besides that, it'll probably be on some Eric Thomas, right? Eric Thomas got an album. Now, Eric Thomas, I don't know if you're familiar with Eric Thomas. Some people call him E.T. the hip hop.
The hip hop preacher. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
For sure. Yeah. So I'm listening to E.T. back to back. I'm just listening to E.T. mix, right? Back to back to back. That's all I want to hear. Then outside of that, beyond that, I gotta put some music in there, man. Give me 1 second, bro. It's gonna probably be okay, I got you. If it's right now, if it's today, it's gonna be Lil Russell, bro. It's gonna be some Lil Russell. Lil Russell is a rapper out of Vallejo, California. The truth. He the truth. He be sliding. So yeah, it's gonna definitely probably be some Lil Russell. He gonna be because it ain't gonna be no rah-rah. You know, he ain't gonna just be rapping he gonna be giving me some news I can use.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, he gonna really be feeding my mind. So yeah, definitely Lil Russell.
All right. Question number 3. Where was the first place you went when you flew?
You ain't gonna believe it. My first time ever on an airplane. I went skydiving, bro.
No kidding.
Yeah, no job. My wife was there. She ain't do it with me, but she was there. Yeah, but so my first time ever on a plane was in Duval, 11,500 feet in the air. So we didn't really fly anywhere per se. We just flew up into the sky and I jumped out.
Man, that's dope.
Yeah, bro. Living like that. I wasn't scared at all. I was amped up. I was laughing the whole way down. I was screaming and laughing so loud when I got to the ground, I ain't had no voice.
Yeah. Skydiving is definitely on my list of things to do for sure.
For sure.
Question number 4. What was your favorite class in school?
Math. That's easy. Math. Yeah, bro. I always excelled at math. Since I was in elementary school, I just innately was good at math, bro. Even to this day. Math is just, I don't even have to try that hard at math. When I was incarcerated, the only job I ever had was a GED teacher, and I found out that I didn't even know that I was good at teaching. Right? It was never even on my mind. Somebody asked me to come give it a try one day. I came in there and gave it a try, and guess what I was teaching? Math. You know, I had no idea, and come to find out, especially dudes that have been in the streets, bro, I can teach math easy. I can relate math to anything, bro. You know, if you done been in the street, you done bought drugs or sold drugs, you know math, right? I found that I could teach dudes. Dudes would always be like, man, I don't know fractions. I'd be like, man, that's a lot. You know what? I'd be like, you smoke weed? Yeah, I smoke weed. You done sold powder? Yeah, I done sold powder. Oh, you definitely know math. You know what a half is, right? You done bought a quarter before, right? So if you buy 1 quarter, then you buy another quarter, what you got? Oh, I got a half. Okay, you just added 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 1/2, right? I was so dude, dudes will always say, man, I ain't good with decimals. Everybody in the world good with decimals. You know money, right? Yeah, of course I know money. Okay, if you got 50 cents, if you got 50 cents, and then I give you another 50 cents, what you got? You got $1. Okay, so you just added 0.5 plus 0.5 equals 1. So just like that, bro. So math was always my favorite subject in school. Even when I wasn't going to school, I'd show up, man, I might skip the whole first 9 weeks. Then when we gotta take that test at the end of the 9 weeks, I pass it with flying colors. Yeah, bro. So math always my favorite.
Okay. I like it. I like it. And last question. What was the last thing that really made you laugh?
Probably my wife, bro. Probably her. She goofy. Let me see. What was the last thing we was laughing about? Uh, Probably today. She called me today. She called me today. Oh, because the last thing that made me laugh. Last thing that made me laugh, right? So she got for some reason, she just came down with like a cold yesterday, right? She got sick for some reason yesterday, right? And uh I got home and she was just acting like a baby, just acting like a baby. And yeah, it just tripped me out because she was acting like such a baby, and we started laughing about it. Then today, she called me. She called me while I was at work today, and was like, oh, because I put some Vicks vapor rub on her chest, uh, while she was asleep this morning. Um, and she called me today. Oh, baby, thank you so much. You just this and that, and yeah, she just made me laugh, bro. It really put a smile on my face. You know how she called me at work today.
Love it. So if there's anything you want to plug or promote, the floor is yours.
Okay, for sure, for sure. So I guess really the only thing I really want to push right now at this time, man, just hit my website, visiontransition.com. Now, also, you know, as a side note, I'm into the farming thing as well. You know, I really try to put, you know, a lot of my focus on building this whole program I'm trying to build with around HVAC and teaching guys HVAC. But farming, I'm definitely into that. So if you guys ever want to see me tap in with what I got going on with farming, you can catch it on you can look it up on IG, Everett Acres, EVERETTE Acres, or Everett Tribe. And one last thing I really, really, really want to push, I definitely got to push this.
Go ahead.
I have a networking event coming up October 26th in Colorado. So I don't know if you're familiar with Marcus Barney, him 500, but he's doing a recession-proof legacy tour, and me and some of my friends, we're responsible for putting on the Colorado chapter version of the recession-proof legacy tour. We're gonna be talking about credit repair, personal credit, how to repair your credit, how to structure your credit. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, how to get money with your family, right? How to successfully build business with family, because we're real big on that. We're going to be talking about just the stress that comes with running a business, the stress that comes with being the the financially free person in your family. Um, it's gonna be along those lines. So It's gonna be a big event, October 26th. You can just check out my IG page. My IG page is at Vision Transition, at Vision Transition. It's my IG page, so you can get all the information there. It's gonna be free to attend. So if you're not in Denver, you can just pull up. You know, if you plan on being in Denver. But yeah, man, that's the main thing I want to plug as well, man. So please be on the lookout for that. That's gonna be a big thing. I'm gonna be posting all about it. They also have a Carolina chapter. I'm not sure if Carolina gonna be a part of the tour, but yeah, man. So EYL University, powered by Recession Proof. Yeah, that's the tour we're putting on a networking event for the Legacy Tour. Denver, Colorado, October 26th. Don't meet me there, beat me there.
There it is, Square Biz. Man, this was a fantastic episode, man. I greatly appreciate having you on here, man. I was thoroughly enjoyed this dialogue.
For sure, bro. Likewise, man. I appreciate you offering me your platform. I appreciate you offering me your audience, bro. And anybody, man, you know, if I could leave everybody with just one thought, one idea, you know, if I could just plant a seed, I say perspective is everything. You know, mindset really determines the life that you have, bro. If you feel like you got bad luck, if you feel like, you know, your luck is not what you want it to be, you change your luck by changing your routine. You change your luck by changing your perspective, your outlook, bro. Always have a solution-based mindset as opposed to a complaining-based mindset. And by complaining-based, I mean, anytime you encounter an issue, don't go toward complaining about it. If you're not actively trying to find a solution to the issue, bro, you complaining. Plain and simple. It don't matter how you dress it up, bro. You may have a legitimate gripe, but a legitimate gripe is still complaining. Be solution-based as opposed to complaining-based. If you have a solution-based mindset, I guarantee you're going to attract the life you want, bro. You know, so, yeah, man, I just want to leave people with that, man. Solution-based over complaining-based, bro. And my motto, or my slogan, my catchphrase for Vision Transition, we all we got, but we all we need. You feel me? So that's what it is, man. And yeah, bro, that's it, man. And thank you again, bro, man. I'm super appreciative for what you're doing. I'm super appreciative for you offering me your platform, bro. What you're doing is important, you know, because one thing I done realized, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. You know, if you know, I don't have a big social media following. You know, I'm not really huge on social media. I don't have thousands and thousands of followers. But if I can just get 10 people to see this, and out of that 10 people, one of them take action, that's value. That means I added value, you know, and it's gonna come back to me. So yeah, man. Thank you again, fam, and that's it.
And thank you for being on, man. I tell you that there's 99 no's, but that one yes is worth it.
For sure, bro.
So, man, make sure you like, download, or subscribe to Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page. I'm at Danny Foxworth 843. You can find all the video versions of my podcast episodes on there. And for Joseph and myself, this has been another episode of Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. Peace.
For sure.